When my first escrow office win, and she called me for $250, right, signing, I flipped that and I called up one of my sorority sisters.
If someone knows what they want and they know that you have it, then what's left to agree upon? When can you come? That's the question I'm wondering.
Let's talk about notary.
I'll give an example of what that looks like in the notary.
Fascinating.
Welcome to the Notary Boardroom, everybody. This is another installment. This is actually the second to the last show of the year. So you got this right on time. And hopefully everybody's doing cool, having a great December. London, we have a guest today, London Dagans. He is I'll tell you guys a little bit about London, and I'll let you introduce yourself to the family. So London is a business owner. He's a father. He's a husband. And he is a big contributor to this entrepreneur community. And he's got extensive years in running several businesses, and he's also a coach. So for people who are interested in building their business and building a strong, significant foundation for the business, then you guys are in the right place. So I'm sure that, he's got more to say about his introduction. But I want you guys to pull up a pen, some paper, take some notes, because this is going to be a very, very fascinating, intriguing conversation, and definitely worth your time. So I'm glad you guys decided to spend your morning or your afternoon, if you're on the West Coast, then you're in the morning, to kick it with us and really, contribute to your growth in your development as a business owner. So without any further ado, London. Hey, introduce yourself to the family. Welcome back to the War Room, first of all. Thank you for being here. But yeah, introduce yourself to the family.
Sure. Man, Tiger, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure coming on this platform and, giving what I can back to any entrepreneurs, any small business owner that's out there who's looking to start and grow their skill in business. Speaking of that, that's what I do. So I help new LLCs. I help small business owners start and grow and scale their business by using credit, specifically using or leveraging your business credit or business funding. So I help you get capital so you can start your business, whether that's you may need equipment, you may need to invest into marketing, you may need to invest into staff, automations, mentorship, anything you need to use your capital to start your business. And then in order to grow and scale your business, you may need capital for that. So that's what I specialize in. I started doing this typically around 2017, 2018. But I've been a small business owner since 2014. I started my first limousine company. My brother and I bootstrapped, didn't know a thing about business credit, didn't know a thing about business funding, which we're going to go over today. To give you that type of information, that knowledge, so you won't do like I did, starting my first business using my own cash. It was an interesting experience, but at the end of the day, it was a nightmare, and we're gonna get into that. But I started my own limousine business out here in Chicago, Illinois, roughly about 2014. My brother and I, we took an opportunity and we ran with it. I quit my job. I was working in the casino industry roughly about 5 to 6 years, literally went in the casino industry, turned my badge in. I was a blackjack dealer or a baccarat dealer, however you want to call it, but I deal cards for a living. Turned my badge in, said I quit, used my family money, used my tax money, just paid off my 2007 Dodge Charger that I had for 5 years. 6 months later, I paid it off. 5 years later. Then as soon as I paid it off, 6 months later, I sold it for $6,000. So after I quit my job, sold my car that I just paid off, only had the title for 6 months, sold my car for $6,000, used family and friends, asked to borrow money from family and friends. My brother and I, we went and purchased our first party bus in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Flew out there, had a driver all the way back, had all types of complications, right? To the brakes went out, transmission went out, $10,000, brakes was $5,000. So my point is, we was making money, but we also was spending a lot of money. So the money that we was making in our business, we have to put that money back in our business, right? For transmissions, for brakes, for anything. So how many of you are in that situation? Might not be on that scale that we were, because like I said, our transmission costs $10,000. But what if your motor go out in your car? That's your transmission go out in your car by doing assignments. So you're taking the money, the income, the revenue that you're generating in your business, and now you have to turn around and use that money to put back in your business. That's considered as the rat race, right? You're going nowhere. So I know a lot of you, or it could be most of you, are in that situation. So that's where business funding and business credit take that load off your shoulders, because now you have the capital, now you have the lines of credit, the credit lines, the business loans in order to grow and scale your business as opposed to using your income. So I had to learn that the hard way by doing it that way. So I gained that experience. Then I transitioned, we sold that bus, and we ended up buying another bus. We went our separate ways because we had different ideologies as far as how business should be ran at that particular time, because we both just trying to figure it out. I wanted to go more into the business perspective as far as airport runs, transportation, doing those type of runs. And he wants to stay more in the leisure transportation, birthdays, bachelorette parties, and stuff like that. So we had two different mindsets when it comes to that, because I did my due diligence. I did a business plan. I understand what Chicago market entailed. So with that being said, and then I also started to learn about business credit. And I was like, hey, you know what? I don't have to use my own money to do this whole process again. So that gave me the confidence to dissociate myself from my business partner, aka my brother, my twin brother at that time. So that gave me the confidence to do that, because I knew I can do it on my own. So I was able to get my first business loan from a company called Asian out here in Chicago. They're in other states too. They specialize in small business owners. So I did the business plan, which I'm going to go over all that stuff. I did everything I need to do to get my first business loan. Gave me a business loan for $25,000 at that particular time. And I was able to use that money. It was the equipment loan, and we'll go over that, different types of loans. It was equipment loan, use that funds to buy my second party bus. And that's when I really took off. From there, I got an SUV, I got a Sprinter, and I got another party bus. So that's how I started my entrepreneur journey ship as far as going in a limousine company. So it's similar to the notary, because they both fall into that industry as far as transportation industry. And we're going to go over that too, as far as the different industries, NACE codes, and all that other stuff that you need to properly structure your business. But that's pretty much a synopsis of what I've been through as far as my journey. Starting out working a 9-to-5 job, ended up quitting my job, took an opportunity to start my own company, learned from that experience as far as, hey, it takes money to make money, but it doesn't have to be your money. So I learned from that. I learned there's a better way by using other people's money, by leveraging the bank's money. Then from there, I was able to grow and scale my business. So that's a little bit about me as far as where I am. And now I transitioned to 2022 because I took another hit in 2022. So I had to pivot. So then I transitioned into specialize into business funding and business credit. So that's where I'm at right now.
So guys, I hope you guys are paying attention. I hope you guys are listening and you got your pen and paper ready. As you can see, this brother is filled with a wide spectrum of knowledge. This man can speak to you guys on a wide variety of topics. He started his business. He partnered with family members. He took loans. He ran a business. He did his due diligence, found out that it wasn't what it seemed, and he'd been able to leverage that and still continue to grow. Didn't have to, call it quits. Didn't have to back down. So I hope you guys are really getting a lot out of this so far. So I really want you guys to kind of really buckle in and strap down to what we're getting ready to talk about. So just for FYI, for those who don't know, Tiger Toledo, who is the Notary War Room chief in command, he's actually on this as well. So he'll be able to jump in. So you guys are going to get a good combination of information here. So, but London, you know what? I almost have a quarter page full of notes here already, man. Listening to you talk, because you break down some serious conversations, some serious topics that people need to really need to hear. It may be a wake-up call. You know, America today is in a financial crisis. this country is really in a situation, and the citizens and the people of this country, they're really tackling some really major issues. One of the big issues is debt.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to, can you break down to the family the difference between personal debt and business debt and how that plays into their decisions moving forward?
Sure, that's great. And I would love to break that down. And here's why. Because when most people hear the word debt, they kind of run away from it. You know, we were taught, most of us were taught that debt is bad growing up. Hey, don't get too much into debt. You know, you're going to drown yourself out for bankruptcy and all of these things that you hear in your household, or maybe even in schools that they talk about credit. But don't go too far into debt. Well, I would come back there and say, hey, well, in a sense, you're right. You don't want to fall into bad debt, because there is a such thing that's called good debt versus bad debt. So we have to differentiate the two, right? What is good debt versus what is bad debt? So that's something that I like to actually explain. So bad debt, let's start with that first, is when you take, let's just say you take a general credit card, right? You take your credit card and you go out on a shopping spree, you go on vacation, you maybe buy materialistic things that you can't afford. You may buy jewelry, you may buy, I don't know, all things, furniture that you really can't afford. So you may go get all these lavish things, whether you're trying to prove something to yourself or prove something to other people, or just being quite frivolous and not being financially astute when it comes to your money, right? So that's something you do as far as bad debt. You go out and get things you really can't afford. So then you turn around and you can't pay those things off. Because why? Because you don't have the income coming in. You don't have the revenue coming in to offset that debt. So that's in layman terms, that's bad debt. You basically get things that you can't afford. So now you definitely falling deep down into the rabbit hole, and it's almost impossible, or it takes a long time with, I would say, strategy, a little bit of luck, learning from your experience to get out that rabbit hole. And most people don't get out the rabbit hole. So that you don't want to do. That's bad debt. So good debt is the total opposite, where you can take a credit card, but this time you're going to use it to leverage, right? You're going to use that. This is why I tell people credit is not king. You might have heard credit is king, or you might even heard cash is king. But the real king that I'm going to get to is cash flow. Because in order for you to use good credit, right? Good credit is when you use credit to grow your cash flow, to make money. So which means if I take an unsecured business credit card, right? It's a simple concept, create money to make money, good debt. If I take an unsecured business credit card, whether I use that credit card or I use another strategy where I can liquidate that credit card, write myself a $20,000 check with 0% interest, take that check, deposit that into my business checking account. Now I have $20,000 to start to grow and scale my business, where I can use that for marketing. I can use that for equipment. I can use that for staff. I can use that to maybe buy some office supplies, whatever it takes in order for me to start and scale to grow that business. I have the cash, I have the capital to do it. So I'm taking that money from the bank, I'm using other people's money, debt, good debt, and I'm investing into an asset that's going to produce me cash flow. So I'm putting that money in a vehicle, which is an asset that is going to produce me positive cash flow, because cash flow is the real king. So after we pay our expenses, after we pay our debt, now we have a strong cash flow. Maybe what does that look like for you? Maybe it's 10,000 monthly, or maybe it's 20,000 monthly. Maybe it's $500,000 annually. But the point is, you're using debt to make money, which is AKA using debt to grow your cash, right? Cash flow. This is why I tell people cash is not king. Cash is trash. How many times where you have probably 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, even 100,000, or even more, and that money slowly dissipated? Well, that's because you didn't have a strong enough cash flow to keep that money growing. So yes, it's going to dissolve, right? Yes, it's going to go in another direction from your bank account. because you need to have a positive cash flow. And only way you can do that by investing in something like real estate, a business, maybe stocks, maybe commodity, some type of asset that's going to bring you that cash flow. So that's really the differentiator between good debt versus bad debt. Bad debt, you basically getting things you can't afford. So, and over time, you're going to fall into debt, into serious debt. So it's going to be hard to get out of. But good debt is when you use the bank's money and you're going to invest into an asset that's going to produce you cash flow.
That's so
that's
important, man.
Of it.
It's around this time of year, and for people who may not be watching this live, it's the holidays. Ooh. So
that's right.
So it's important that we recognize the difference between those two. So let me ask you this.
Real quick tech on that. See, everybody in my household, they've been conditioned that you only get one thing and it has to be meaningful, right? We just don't buy a whole bunch of frivolous things. My kids know they get one thing and they're okay with that. We buy them all throughout the year, right? We don't use Christmas as a time to really show them my appreciation or show them my love or whatever, that with a whole bunch of presents, showers with them a whole bunch of presents. I think that's the mindset that we have to get out of prison. Christmas is not made for that. So, it's different, but you have to condition your household in a way where they understand that. In my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I think a lot of people would agree with you too. I'm definitely on point. It can come with handcuffs if you are not in a position to face on those adversities financially. And a lot of things are unexpected. A lot of things, they will come out of nowhere. Income, lifestyle, or savings. Which one would you put in priority, or how would you rank those two in terms of importance? Income, lifestyle, savings.
I will always say unequivocally income. And that goes back to cash flow. Because the thing about it is, if you equate that, compare that to savings, right? Savings is such I won't say it's because yes, you do want to save, but to me, it's a traditional sense when people say saving, because saving can be such a challenge, especially the economy that we live in today with inflation and everything that we're going through as far as being a consumer in the US. So saving in a traditional sense is not the way to go. Now, saving meaning, hey, if you increase your income, it's always going to be about increasing income. If you're not making sufficient funds, it's going to be very hard to save. It is what it is. You hear this so many times. Oh, I'm just going to chill and stack my money. No, you're not, because something's going to come up.
Yes.
Right? Emergency is going to happen. Kids is going to need stuff, right? Graduation, right? Birthday. Is always something around the corner unexpectedly that's going to happen. And unfortunately, maybe somebody else, death in the family, right? Something is going to happen. So that concept of saving can really put you in trouble. Now, I believe you should save to invest, right? If you're going to save, use majority of that saving to invest into an asset. That's my concept of saving. Also, saving on your taxes, right? That's another concept when it comes to saving. So there's different ways you can save money. It doesn't have to be in a traditional sense where you're saving to try to build up your bank account as much as you can. That way it's almost over with. So even if you save in a sense your Roth or your 401k, right? You have to even do more from that sense of just saving that way, because the economy that we live in, because of opportunity cost. If I'm making 4% over here in my 401k, whatever, 6% of my 401k, man, maybe I can invest somewhere else and make 8% and 10%, right? So what is that costing me by keeping my money only over here, right? It's costing me 6%. I'm making 4 over here, but I can make 10 over here. So it's costing me 6%. So I have to move my money from there and put it over here. That's opportunity cost. So as an investor, as a small business owner, it's always about the ROI, your return on your investment. So that's what we should be looking at when we're talking about saving, looking at from that vantage point as far as just stacking my money. I think that's a poor mentality when people say, I'm just going to stack, work, and stack. It's not going to get you far.
that can't be fixed?
Say it again. You kind of went out, Tech.
So because we're learning so many gems right now. You're dropping so much game, and I truly appreciate it. I'm asking this for my own personal benefit, but I know the family out there, they want to hear as well. And most of the people in the audience are business owners. They may have notary businesses. They may have other businesses as well. And when people think about things like debt, when you talk about income, we talk about cash flow, savings, these are all traditional financial concepts that we've all of us, if you are of a certain age, you've all been introduced to these things. And unfortunately, some of us will find themselves in positions where they are tugging between one end on the other end. Should I buy Christmas? Should I spend $10,000 on Christmas for my kids who may not be appreciative of it, right? When there's all these issues, then you have these business expenses, then something pops up, something comes up. Is there, so that by virtue of just being in that situation, they may find themselves they may feel like I'm buried under debt. I can't get out of it. There's no way for me to get from underneath this. But is there any situation in your expertise that cannot be fixed?
No, because I'm a firm believer. If you have the proper information, if you have the proper knowledge, if you have the proper guidance, you can formulate the proper strategy to anything, right? If you're in a worst case scenario, which some of us in our own world, we might have been, that might be considered the worst case scenario that we can be in, our lowest point, right? Based on our life. So, but there's a way to get out of everything. It may take time. It may take 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, but you can get out of it. So, and with that time, you have to either maybe increase your skill set, increase your knowledge base, increase your the people you hang around with. So there's a multitude of things you can do to get out of debt, right? But one of the most important things it always comes back to, as opposed to everything I just named, is income. How can you increase your income? That's the name of the game, right? Is it passive income? That's a great way to increase your income. Maybe, like I said, investing into other assets to increase your income. Continue to work. I'm not anti 9-to-5 job. I just believe that, hey, don't solely rely on your 9-to-5 job. Invest in something else that's going to give you a higher return on your investment. So yeah, there's that as far as, yeah, you can always climb out of debt. It just takes it can take time. It can take different strategy again, and those different things that I named. So yeah,
okay.
You never down and out. You never down and out. It's just all about just moving things around and pivoting.
Yeah, that's important to know. That's important to know for people who think that they're hopeless.
Yeah,
you got a shot. You still got a shot. You still in the game. So yeah. So enough about the personal side of the business game or the credit game. But let's talk more about some your particular area. Now, why did you decide to go into business credit? Why business credit? And how can a business owner acquire financing for their business?
Okay, so the first question is, why did I decide to go into transition to business credit? I always been fond of it. It's as a story I shared in the beginning about me having the experience of, hey, using my cash, borrowing from family and friends. Not a bad strategy. Again, different strategies for different situations, right? At that time, it was good for my brother and I to start our business that way, right? But then I learned, hey, you know what? There's another way. I can use the bank's money. They got more of it. It's less risk on my end because I'm using somebody else's money. I'd rather lose their money than use my savings and my checking or business account, right? So I'm going to use their money. I'm going to leverage their money. So, hey, if worst case scenario, which I've been in this situation, worst case scenario, I default on a loan. But guess what? I know enough where I can recalibrate my strategy, figure it out, remove the negative items, dispute them from my personal credit profile. This happened to me in 2020. I lost one of my party buses, and I lost my SUV. So yes, my credit, and those are under my business name. So I kept my other party bus because I paid it off. But those is under my business name. So I took a hit. Because I personal guarantee. So I took a hit and it tarnished my credit for about 6 to 9 months. But I know enough about enough. Hey, they gave me a letter, say I owed them. What happened? Yes, I disputed those counts, got them off my personal credit profile, and was able to start over and do it all over again. See, what we have to understand, Tech, and everybody who's listening, credit is all about perception. Do you look good on paper? So if you can prove to these financial institutions, these banks, these creditors that you look good on paper, that's all they care about. Do I still owe the debt? Yes. Is it in my public records? No. Is it on my other, I would say, credit bureaus or any other smaller credit bureaus? No. So it's to a point where you have to understand that. And once you understand that, you can master and manipulate the credit world any way you want to. Now, your other question was, how can a business owner get business credit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
How can a business owner with maybe some poor personal credit, or maybe just starting out, how can they acquire financing for their business?
Well, that's a good question. It's always come down to, again, strategy. Always, no matter where you are in your business, you can get access to funding. Here's how. So, or I will tell you a overall point of view on how. So let's say, for example, you're a brand new owner. Let's say you do not have good personal credit. So where can you start? Well, if I don't get good personal credit, now we need to understand that 95% of business funding, notice I'm saying funding, which means money. 95% of business funding is predicated off your personal credit profile. Let's not get that twisted. So whenever you want to get any funding from any national bank, any community bank, any regional bank, any credit union, your personal credit has to be in position. And I just do not mean your credit score. Your personal credit profile needs to be in position. The data points has to be there. Why? Because banks only care about two things. Number one, your willingness to pay them back. And that's what we're talking about. Your willingness is based off your willingness is based off of, are you willing to pay us back? Which means, how can they tell you willing to pay them back? Well, they look at your personal and your business credit profile. Does Tech pay his bills on time? Well, we don't know. Let's look at his personal history. Does Tech know how to manage debt? Well, we don't know. Let's look at his credit utilization. Is Tech being frivolous, or AKA being thirsty for credit? Well, we don't know. Let's look at his hard inquiries. Because no matter, you can have an 850 credit score, if you have an excess amount of hard inquiries on your credit profile, if you have too many hard inquiries on your personal credit profile, lenders and creditors will turn you down, no matter what your personal credit score look like, or business. So we have to take that consideration. What I'm explaining to you right now is data points. How long has Tech been in business? How long has Tech been managing debt? Your credit history. Has it been 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? So you have to know what lender look at that particular time. So that's your willingness to pay them back. Now, your ability is your revenue, which and your willingness supersedes your ability. Because if they see you paying your bills on time, so they know you have revenue coming in because you're paying your bills on time. So they know you have the ability to pay them back, which is cool, because some products, and we're going to get into that, some products you don't even have to show any proof of income. Whatever you say you make, you're going to make. We're going to dive into that a little bit later, but that's really important. So your willingness and your ability to pay them back, that's what lenders care about. Willingness is based off your personal, your credit profile, your personal credit profile, your business credit profile, and your ability is based off your revenue. So I say that to say this: if you don't have good personal credit, you can start with business credit. Business credit. What is business credit? Now I have to break down what is business credit. Business credit. Remember, business credit, business funding are two different concepts. Yeah. I just explained what business funding is when you take your. I'm gonna go back to it. what business funding is, but I essentially just explain what that is. Now, business credit is when you take your brand new business or an established business and you go to other companies and you open up lines of credit with those companies. That's it. So if you take your business credit profile, if you take the way your business is structured, which is huge, we're going to talk about that, how to properly structure your business. So based on the structure of your business, based on your business credit profile, you're going to go to other companies and open up lines of credit with those companies. Let's give examples of other companies. Well, we have Target, we have Quill, Granger, Uline. Some of these you heard before. You have Walmart, you have any gas store cards, any retail store cards. You have what else? Searchy, Create a CEO. I can go on and on. It's a list out there where you can go in order to start building business credit. But you're very limited when it comes to building business credit. Why? Because the credit lines that you get from other companies, you only can get them at that particular establishment. So if you get a credit line from a gas station, BP, you only can spend that at that gas station and at that BP because it's based off your business credit by itself. Not too many establishments want to take that chance as far as you just having a business and they can't go beyond that business to come after you if you default. So that's why they limit to you from that particular store. But it's very beneficial. So if you're into real estate, you can get a car like this where you can go get from Floor Decor, where you can go get a $20,000 line of credit from that, and now you got floors. You can go to get a Home Depot card, wherever my Home Depot card at. You can get a line from Home Depot if you're into real estate. Now you got a 10 or 15,000 Home Depot card based off your EIN by itself. You can go to Dell, right? You can go get computers and stuff like this, equipment, right? You can get all this stuff with your line of credit, that you can leverage. Start your YouTube channel, start doing content, right? Just from your deal alone, EIN only. So it's definitely beneficial for you to do that, but that's business credit in a nutshell, right? So that's how you can establish business credit, and we can elaborate that a little bit later, even more.
Talking about personal credit and talking about, when you approach a bank, a financial institution, and ask for funding versus asking for credit, and the bank, I think you're bringing up a good point, which is very relevant, which is they don't know anything about you. They don't know who Tech is. They never heard of me. I'm not Apple. I'm not Microsoft. Let's pull up his profile. Let's look into it. Let's see what. So the importance of personal credit, or at least now, why is that important to build up your personal credit because so many people want to rush. Hey, I heard somebody can get $100,000 and buy a car and do this and I'm talking kind of into the notary industry.
Yeah.
I've got all these expenses. I want to go get a printer. I want to go do all these things. And you look at their profile, the personal, by the way, and you say, listen, hold on. Should the person take the time, slow down, back up, take care of some personal things that they might have going on in order to put themselves in a better position, versus the person says, listen, I got to get it now. I got 3 months to make this. I invested a lot of money in here. I want to, I got to pay for fuel for my car, got to pay for supplies, and got to pay for somebody to build up a website. I just need to get the bag as soon as possible. I need to get access to this funding. Versus what you're saying is, listen, slow down, build your personal side up. How is that advantageous to the business owner in the long run, building a foundation and how they can, maybe not tomorrow or next week, but the banks and the lending, and when they go to apply for that type of funding.
Sure.
How that advantageous?
Sure, and I'm going to answer that too. Let me. This is relative to your question. Let me ask whoever watching this, and if you get it right, all right, I'm going to incentivize you. So not only I'm going to give you a free one-on-one with me, or a free one-on-one with me, I'm going to break down business credit, what you need to do to have business credit. If you have a business credit profile already, we can break that down. Also, your business credit profile. You're going to get a free one-on-one with me. Then let's see where that goes as far as any type of, if you need extra help or mentorship, anything of that nature. But so let me ask you this question, if you get it right, people who's watching. What have you ever heard of? First of all, you got to heard this. Your Dun & Brad, which is your AKA payday score, which is one of the major business credit bureau. What payday score do you need in order to qualify for any type of business funding, business loan, business line of credit, business credit lines? What is the score that banks look for when you're looking to get any type of funding from these financial institutions? From any, it can be a national bank, community bank, credit union, whatever. What is the score? And I'll give you a hint. I even sweeten up the deal, right? I'll give you a hint. I'll sweeten up the deal. What, if you've never heard of a payday score, it ranges from 0 to 100, right? From 0 to 100, 100 being the best. What is the score, right? What is that score that the bank actually is? So again, your payday score is one of the it's three major business credit bureaus: Experian Business, Equifax Business, and then you have your Dun & Brad, which is your AKA your payday score. What number is that?
I think most people want to hit that 700 club on their personal side, but when it comes to this, they may not actually really know. I'm actually curious to know. I have an idea.
Okay, Shauna, she said 89. Okay, heard of it, not sure what it is. Okay. She said 80. Okay. So again, I'm going to reiterate, your payday score is connected to your Dun & Brad. Your Dun & Brad is one of the three major business credit bureau. Unlike your personal, where you have Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, on the business side, you have Experian Business, Equifax Business, then you have your Dun & Brad, your AKA your payday score, right? So it goes from 0 to 100. So we got 80 and we got 89, right?
I'm gonna throw in 80 myself.
You gonna throw in 80? Okay.
Yeah.
180. Remember, this is the business credit bureau. All right. So if nobody else have any answers, anything else you can see, Tech? Anybody else? That's it.
Well, I guess I can't say 80 because it's already taken. So let me take. I'm gonna go 75.
Okay, 75.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So here's the thing. Now, in order for you to have a good payday score is considered 80 and up. So that's what people call it, 80 payday score, but not realizing it really goes up to 100. So start from 0 and it goes all the way to 100, right? Same thing with your experience score. Start from 0 and then go all the way to 100. You know, your payday score, again, is one of the three major business credit bureau. But here's the thing about your payday score. When you're building your business credit profile, right? When you focus on your Dun & Brad, aka your paydex, you're focusing on vendor trade lines and supplier trade lines. Let me break that down really quick what that means. Vendor and supplier trade lines is the trade lines that I'll explain as far as you going to Quill, Granger, Uline, right? You get supplies like this, right? You get like pens, needles, you get stuff like this. I got a whiteboard, like you get from these companies. You can get computer screens like from Best Buy, Dell, stuff of that nature, right? So you're getting all this equipment for your business. You can get a printer. I actually got my printer from Office Supplies with my line of credit. So, and this can be beneficial, especially for you notaries from out there, right? You can paper, printer, very ink, all that, very beneficial, which is cool. Now, but if you go into these stores, you're building up your payday score through vendors and suppliers. Those are considered vendor suppliers. Why? Because they not considered financial trade lines. Why? Because they don't come from a bank.
Got it.
They don't come from a bank. Remember, banks are national banks, community banks, regional banks, credit unions. These are all financial trade lines. If you want to say products such as secure business credit cards, unsecured business credit cards, business lines of credit, equipment loans, you got business auto loans. These are all financial trade lines that the banks care about. So if I'm building my payday score from vendors and supplier trade lines, guess what? The banks do not care about your 80 paydebt score.
Oh,
You can have a 180 paydebt score. The banks do not care about it. This is one of the biggest fallacies that these people on these social media platforms teach people that's trying to get business credit. Hey, we can get you $100,000 in business credit. Yes, they can. You can get you gas cards. You can get office supply. Like they can get you $100,000 in business credit. It's not going to be the funding though. It's not going to be funds because they focusing on your paydebt score, and the banks do not care about your paydebt score. You can go to every bank in America, every bank in the US. If you ask them right now, how can I qualify for a business loan, business equipment loan, a business auto loan, business lines of credit, business credit cards, unsecured business credit cards, secure business credit cards, AR financing, right? You can go all these different type of financing, and you ask them, what paydebt score do I need? They're going to say paydebt score. We don't give a shit about that. We don't care about your paydebt score. You better show us that experience business. You better show us that experience, personal experience, right? You better show us that, and then we can talk. So that's what I mean about having the proper strategy and understanding exactly what it takes to get the money, and not just getting things that you really don't need in your business.
You know, I heard about people who buy these building up their vendor score and going to get gas cards and things like that. And I always wondered about, well, how come why not just go to American Express?
What I haven't transitioned to getting funding. You never heard someone, oh yeah, I got 20 accounts on my business credit profile. And then I went to the bank and they gave me $50,000 because it's impossible, right? Especially if you don't have a variety of different type of trade lines, because trade line is so broad. There's, like I said, vendor trade lines, supplier trade lines, financial trade lines. Then on the personal side, you got authorized user trade lines, primary trade lines, right? You got all these different type of, you got revolving trade lines, installment trade lines. You have all these different type of trade lines. So yes, it matters what trade lines on the personal side, and it matters what type of trade lines on the business side.
I hope y'all are getting some of this information right now. Man, some people, I know somebody's out there that's getting shook up right now. I know they are, because they were probably going down that path, and that completely rocked them right there.
Man.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
The long game, right? How much of what we do now today how much of what we decide to do now has an effect on our long game? And let me give you an example. So if I'm looking to sell my business at some point, I may be looking towards building a legacy for making this a family business and passing this on to my family. Now, if I'm of that mind, if I'm in that position, as opposed to somebody who's maybe just looking to just come and get here, get a quick cash grab, but I actually want to build a sustainable business, what kind of advice would you have for me, and what type of tools that I could use, and maybe what type of challenges I could overcome in order to make sure that I have a business that can be sustainable, it'll survive, and I could potentially even pass this on if I want to in the future.
Sure. And let me ask this. I'm gonna ask a question with a question, then because I'm getting to answering your question, right? If anybody could in the chat, they can answer this too as well, including you, Ted. What's the first step when starting a business? Let's put it in chat. Yeah, because if you know a tech, I don't want you to get. What's the first step? Can anybody answer? Let's give it a second tech before you answer it. No, what's the very first step? And this is important because it has to do with your question. When starting a business, what's the first thing you want to do when you look into, hey, you got the idea, I want to start my business. What's the very first step? Can anybody answer that in the chat? And the offer is still stands, right? As far as me giving you some type of word if you get it right. What's the very first step? I'm gonna give you a free one-on-one consultation with me. By the way, right now my consultation one-on-one for 1 hour is $400. So that's definitely valuable, right? You get a free one-on-one consultation with me. We're gonna break everything down. Business credit profile. If you don't have a business credit profile, that's fine. But personal side, we're gonna break that down. and we're going to break down a lot of more other things. So if you get that answer right, what's the very first step? Practical step. Practical.
The very first step.
Yep.
You start a business.
To start a business.
I can think of a few. I could think of a few. I guess it would depend on what type of business I'm starting. Yeah. That could be it.
When you look into like, if you, let's say you know the business that you want to go in, like you understand that.
Yes.
What's we got open an LLC. Okay. Anybody else? Give it a few more seconds down. We're going to talk about it. Chantel, you might be on something. Open an LLC is definitely important. Okay, so let's do this. So yes, opening your LLC is one of the very first things you should do, but it's not the first thing. Here's why. That's one of the biggest mistakes. I'm not kidding when I say this. About 98% of entrepreneurs do, who's an aspiring business owner, who's have a business idea, and they say, hey, you know what? I want to start a business. Name me open my LLC.
Right.
It's a big, huge mistake, because one of the first things you need to do as a business owner is to understand or to come with a great business name. You need to understand why you need to choose the right business name, right? And it's going to answer your question that you asked. Choosing the right name is very important, because there's actually 4 things you need to do before you even open your LLC. See, most people go, oh, let me get an LLC, and then they hire Tiny, or they go to one of these platforms and they create your LLC. Well, you just really messed up big time, because now you got to go back and redo some things, right? You got to spend energy, time, resources, and all that stuff. Your name is very important. Why? Lenders and creditors will deny you, will ban you if you have the wrong name. Tech, what's the name of your business?
It's the city, and it's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Give me the name of your business exactly on your LLC on paper.
Oakland Prime Mobile Notary.
Okay. Prime notary, right? Now here's the thing, and we get this a lot. So people who's in the trucking industry do this too as well. I did this. My first business that I had was Truth Limousine and Bus Service. Well, actually, it's my second. I put limousine service on my business because I'm like, hell, I'm in the limousine business. I need to put limousine in my name. I'm in the trucking business. I do trucking. Let me put transportation in my name. I'm in real estate business. Let me put real estate in my name. So what we fail to realize, that when you're filling out any type of business credit application, or when you are actually selling your business, first thing that investors and loan and creditors and banks look at is the name of your business, because that's attached to your industry. And I'm gonna go over your industry too as well. It's really important. So if you got, now most of you got notary in your business, not realizing, what if notary was a high risk industry and was a high risk business name?
Yeah, I'm stuck.
Lucky is not. You guys very fortunate, but hell, y'all didn't know that. B100, y'all didn't know that. Because I didn't know the reason why I got such a small limit and got bad terms with my first loan, because my broker told me, you're in the high risk industry loan. I'm like, what the hell is that? What is a high risk industry? I have no idea what he's talking about. Well, limousine industry is a high risk industry. I'm like, it is? I'm like, how is that? And he broke everything down to me. I'm like, oh, that's what you guys gave me. That's American Express only gave me this amount for my first go around. This is why my interest rate is this, right? This is why if I want to sell it, it can be consequences for that, right? So my point is, choosing the right business name is really important. And that goes to choosing the right NAICS code, NAICS code, which classify what industry you're in. So if you're in the notary industry, and then your notary industry is it's in the 541 category. So you guys didn't even know the notary industry is in the 541 category. which means with your NAS code again, it classifies what industry you're in. Insurance companies use your NAICS code. Banks use your NAICS codes. IRS use your NAICS codes. So it tells them a different type of thing depending on what they're looking for. Again, depending on that industry that's pulling your company. See exactly what's going on, because the insurance company gonna just, hey, well, you in this industry, well, you are high risk, so now your premium is gonna be this, right? Your down payment is going to be this. So same thing with bankers. Well, you in this industry, your name is this, so your down payment is going to be this, your interest rate is going to be this, your terms is going to be this, your limit is going to be this. So as you can see, it's really same thing with the IRS. Well, you in this code, your expenses should be this when you file your tax, because based on the industry that you're in, they have these type of expenses while your expenses don't look like that. All right, we're going to audit you. You get what I'm saying? So your NAICS code really determines, and your name really determines, it set the tone and the expectation for your business. Same thing with your exit strategy. You can get more money from being a software company than if you classify as being I don't know, any type of other professional services. So it's really important, right? Yeah, North American classification system. That's your NAICS code. Sorry, I should explain that. That's your I call it NAICS for short. Your NAICS code, right? Because that's so long, I just call it your NAICS code. So that's it. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate that. So that's exactly what that is, and that to be really important. So notary just happened to be a low risk code. Why? Because it's falling in 541, right? It's falling in 541, which means that's typically involves professional, technology, and scientific, right? Which falls in that category where lenders and creditors and investors deem that as being a low risk. So you guys locked up if you got notaries inside your code or your name, which is cool. So that's the very first thing you should do. Now, that's not for every bank. Some banks may consider notary industry still in the high risk. It just all depends on that financial institution. But in general, most banks won't. So that's the first thing you should do when you're looking to start and grow and scale your business. Now, that answers your question, because that's one of the things as far as, hey, like, what's the long-term gain? Well, the long-term gain is properly structuring your business. I don't care if you, I know you guys are focused on income, but the back end properly structure your business, like choosing the right NAICS code, getting the right business name, getting a virtual office. If you don't have a brick and mortar, most of you guys are on the fly, right? So you're doing business outside of your home office. That's cool. So am I. I'm in my home office right now. But guess what? On paper, my LLC, when I get to the banks, I'm on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, anywhere, in one of the most prestigious buildings there is. Suite, whatever. That's what the banks know. Because remember, credit's all about perception. So you do those, you get your operating agreement, you get your registered agent, then you file your LLC. So then you go 7 steps beyond that after you file your LLC to make sure that you properly structure your business. That makes sense?
Man, absolutely. That's powerful, because the steps to, listen, I know everybody has their own individual goals, but the steps to make this a legitimate business, and by business, I mean that there's a step 1, there's a step 2, there's a step 3, and then, like you say, people, their perception of you is not what you say, but is what's documented, is what's written down on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, listen, I know there's a lot of people right now who's looking at themselves, and this is good for them. This is good, because if you feel some type of way, then that means, you know, now you have the opportunity to correct this and to really make the changes. So I hope you guys are taking notes. I got over 2 pages of notes right here already.
That's up, man. I'm telling you.
I mean, you talk about focusing on the structure of your business.
Yeah.
Interesting that you bring that up, because when I work with other people who are in the field, I often come across people who they'll do this. They'll come to my platform, my website. They'll opt in to become a partner of mine, or to become like a contractor. And then one of the things that I do is I interview them by phone. This question always comes up, London. This question, it has never not come up.
Yeah.
I'll say, this is how we, assign work, and here's how we pay you. You have to give us a method of how you pay me. And then they'll tell me, oh, you know what? Cash App is cool. Can you just Zelle it to me? Man, what do you feel about that? How do you feel about that in terms of, again, this being a long-term strategy, somebody who's operating a business?
Disgusted. Here's why. Disgusted. Remember, it's all, guys, I can't stress this enough. Your business, the way you structure your business, you set the attitude for your business and the expectation for your business, which is huge. So if you're telling someone to Cash App you, or if you take in your business, you accept Cash App, or if you accept what else? Zelle. And back of their mind or unconsciously, they thinking, okay, this person or this business is not truly established.
Why is that?
Because that's something that Cash App is not really part of. It's not really part of how a business should be ran effectively. I'm always thinking from a lender's and from a creditor perspective, right? And let me break that down. Why? For one, when you're using Cash App and when you're using what's the other one, Zelle, you don't get any type of credit for that.
Or Venmo.
You don't get any type of credit for that. Which means if I send you over an invoice, number one, my money is protected. Or as a consumer, I know my money can be protected, because the invoice is going to protect you more than you using Zelle or using Cash App. Is not protected. So, because when the last time Zelle or Cash App gave you a refund? Probably never, because they don't do it. Right? So you're putting yourself out there. So as a consumer, I'll be worried, like, what this how they run their business? If something don't go right, my money is not protected. So I can't get my money back as far as a refund. Yeah, you can dispute it with your bank. Now you got to go through all that, right? Shut the car down. They got to investigate. You can go that route if you wanted to. But just from that point, it's not protected. It should be a red flag. And number two, from the business perspective, what credit are you gaining? Cash App and Zelle is not giving you any type of business credit. Man, we do things in our business to get credit for. Yes, you're getting the revenue, but what else is it doing for you? Right? You want to create the win-win. What else is it doing for you? What I mean by credit, I mean, did you know if you use merchant accounts, you can get business credit, you can get business loan, you can get business line of credit just from your merchant account by itself? This is what you need to understand. You can get that just by itself. And this capital is not based off of personal credit. This capital is not based off business credit. This capital is based off your transaction history. Right? It's called invoice financing. It's based off your or MCA, merchant cash advance, how you want, but it's based off your transaction history. And they give you a percentage of that of a loan in a loan. So you're building business credit, and like Stripe, report to the Business Credit Bureau, to the Small Business Financial Exchange, which is a huge player in the business world.
Now say that again. The small business what?
SBFE, Small Business Financial Exchange.
Okay.
Which is one of the biggest. They're not considered a credit bureau, but all the lenders, all creditors, all banks are members of this SBFE, and they all report your data to the SBFE on the business side. So you're getting credit. You building up a SBFE profile with them, and Stripe is building your credit. Hey, if you want a loan, we see you making all these transactions, we'll give you $20,000. You pay us back on the back end. So whenever somebody pay you moving forward, yeah, they'll take a percentage of that. So you don't even have no monthly payments, no daily payments. You pay them whatever somebody else, you pay them back whenever somebody else make a transaction. That can be a different percentage for different businesses. But my point is, you're getting credit from that perspective. So you build a business credit, you can potentially get a business loan, right? just by having a merchant account like Stripe, PayPal, Square, what else you got out there? QuickBooks, that you're invoicing, as opposed to using a Cash App or a Zelle. Plus, just make you look unprofessional. It doesn't set the tone for your business. Imagine, as a consumer, would you want to pay somebody a high ticket item using Zelle or Cash App?
Man.
Again, it's all about protection. I mean, I'm like, this money is not, I can't track this money. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why you don't want to go that route. When it's, again, that's all part of structuring your business.
I can't imagine going up to a law firm or a law firm contacting me and they say, we need 80 signatures for our clients on this day, on this day, this day. Send us an invoice. And then here I am, pull out my phone.
You said Cash App? Like, what? Oh, we ain't going with this fool. Again, it's setting that tone and that's expectation of what your business is like, right? And how you conduct business. Yeah. And are you a serious business owner or not? It says all that about only using. Now, there's a time and place for Cash App and Zelle. Maybe you own a trucking, a food truck company, and you take cash when they pay for the food, and you do Cash App or Zelle, right? Cash, because it's right there. The transaction, quick, fast, in a hurry. So yeah, we'll do Cash App, whatever, and we do cash, right? So it's a time and place for that. You don't say send me an invoice and we'll, right? So it's different, but even in that case, I have a Square thing where they can swipe it at, because now I'm getting credit through Square. So I still want to do Cash App or Zelle because I have a thing where they can swipe their card if they have that, and I'm getting credit from I'm getting credit from like a Square or something like that, or a PayPal where I could potentially borrow money from them if I need to.
Yeah, guys. I know we joke and we laugh about this family, but this is seriously a topic that is most on people's mind, and perhaps they don't have anybody else to talk to about this, or they may feel a little bit, it is a touchy subject. It is a subject that people may feel a little bit embarrassed about, right? They might feel a little bit insecure about talking about some of these subjects, because a lot of us come from, naive backgrounds, myself included, come from backgrounds where this stuff just wasn't taught to us or wasn't widely known. And, we are all in a learning process. So I applaud anybody who's willing to take on the challenge of improving themselves, improving their credit. And, but I want to ask you, you've been doing this for a long time. You've been very successful. You've worked with a lot of people. You've helped a lot of people. What did you get out of this? What's the most rewarding aspect of being a consultant in business credit and financing?
Well, one of the most important things is when I get a text like I got this morning. Hey, the credit card offers came through. I got approved for, the gold, the platinum, and the trying to show you like receipts. Like, just got this text this morning. All right. So this is stuff I just got this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got approved for this. I just got approved for that.
Don't show the phone number, man.
No. That's satisfaction right there. Because I know how hard, like I said, I started bootstrapping my business. So I know how hard it is to not only start a business from nothing, but to try to take it to that next level. It's extremely difficult. And in order for you to take it to that next level, you have to have some type of capital that you can pull from. And that could be to get better equipment, right? Well, you own an ice cream shop, like my sister's got, right? She needs freezers and all these other big equipment. She got to get a line of credit for that. Same thing if you in a notary business, maybe you need a new car. You can get a business auto loan. All right. So it's or if you need a different type of insurance or whatever you need in order to really take your business to that next level, a different printer or stuff like that. So I understand what it takes in order to not only start a business, but take it to that next level. And that give me that satisfaction that I can provide that from other business owners. Like, hey, I can give you with one card $25,000 or $50,000, regardless of where you at. So which means you don't have to be making $100,000 in your business. Hell, what if I told you with one business card, I can give you $25,000 to $50,000 without you making $1 in your business or $1,000 a month in your business, right? What could that do for your business? So that's the power of using the bank's money. So when people go to Shark Tank and stuff like that, they like, hey, well, we need money. Maybe they tapped out from the banks, but they still need another source of income. So that's why they ask these investors to come on so they can provide them with their capital so they can take their business to the next level. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Now, how high you want to go in business, you may be fine, right? You may start a business here, but you only want to go here. That's fine. But some people want to go here, here, here. In order to do that, you have to have capital that you can pull from. Now, again, revenue is very important because that's going to keep your business afloat, or it's going to grow your business too as well. But again, if you got a $75,000 to $100,000 or even more in business capital that you can pull from to really put that in marketing, you don't want to use your revenue, you want to use the bank's money, that's where you want to go. So that's my biggest satisfaction, to provide that for people, because I know how it is to start from zero and still struggling to get to that point where, hey, I just need some money, man. I got this great business idea. I got this great concept. I need capital to get me to that next level. So that's what I get out of it.
Man, that's powerful. Guys, we already at the top of the hour. I know you promised to give us at least 60 minutes of your valuable time, and I appreciate you for coming through and talking with the family, man. It's really a blessing, and it's very much needed. Not just in our community, definitely within our community, but definitely across the whole entire landscape. I know there's people who can benefit from this information everywhere. And, you said some powerful things that has really stuck with me. There's two things that really stand out. But the one thing that you really said, I don't even know if you remember saying this at all, but you asked a very powerful question. You said, how hard, or have you ever attempted to save $10,000?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a question that I think at that time it was a powerful question, because I think everybody has at one point in their lives have tried to do that. And then you followed it up with said, well, if you were able to accomplish that, how long did it take? And what if you could leverage that? And what if you could use that same principle and then get access to $10,000? Like, let's say if it took you 5 years to do it. Well, let's say if you were able to access it, in contrast, $10,000 in 5 minutes or in 5 hours just through an application. And that was so powerful to me. Yeah. That really stood out to me, because it showed, just how it shifted my mind just in terms of how I think about finance.
No, and that's the truth. And here's the thing about that too. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the things I always, it's mainly it's one question, but it's 3-part question. I always ask people, how much funding do you need? When do you need it by? And what are you going to do with it? And out of those 3, the third question is the most important thing, right? Because we have these great ideas, and we think, hey, I want to go into real estate, right? I need $100,000. I want to go into real estate, and I want to buy this 25-unit building down the street. Well, when you get the funding and reality struck in, you realize that you know nothing about real estate, right? Because you haven't really broke it down. You don't know how to analyze a deal, right? You don't know how to evaluate a deal. You don't know how to raise money. You don't know what's a down payment. You don't know what's the cost of value. You don't know LBE. You don't know the LTV. You don't know anything about how to properly really go after a real estate deal, what you said that you wanted. So my point is, 9 times out of 10, people have no idea what they want to do with the money. So trying to save $10,000, especially, it's really hard, but trying to save $10,000 and you really have no idea what to do with it once you get to $10,000, you'll be amazed how many people that actually got approved, but then they get cold feet and get scared. Oh man, I don't need that much money, man. Well, you said you need this. Well, I don't need that much money, man. I don't, man. They just freeze up. Now all of a sudden they freeze up because when the reality stick in, man, now they're thinking, oh, I gotta pay that money back. Yes, it's not free. Of course you gotta pay it back. But the reason why they so scared to pay it back, and the reason why most small business they want to grant because it's free. Oh, I don't have to pay that back, right? So they want to go that route. I don't want to get the banks money. I kind of got to pay it back. Well, the reason why you're scared to pay it back because you're not properly prepared. You don't have a business plan or a strategy to actually go in there and stick to real estate and say, hey, the acquisition cost is going to cost me $50,000, right? The renovation is going to cost me another $10,000. The closing cost is going to cost me this. The holding cost is going to cost me another $15,000, right? The selling cost is going to cost me another $8,000 when I do an extra strategy to sell, right? Matter of fact, speaking of extra strategy, I'm going to do a cash out refinance, so I'm going to sell it. So to really break it down, to know exactly what you're going to do with the money when you get it is the hardest part. So again, people shy away from that because they like, hey, it sounds good in theory. You would be surprised how many people told me I want $250,000 in 30 days and I need it now. Like, it's like, I'm like, okay, so what are you gonna do with it? Oh man, I just gotta buy a truck. You need $250,000 for a truck? Oh, you know what? Yeah, I can get like 8 trucks with that. What's your plan with 8 trucks? How are you gonna market that? How you gonna, so it's like, it's crazy. So knowing what to do with that, not only saving it, but yes, you can get access to funding really quickly. But you need to be very strategic about how you use those funds.
Yeah. What you're talking about builds a lot of character. Going through those trials and those tribulations and those learning experiences, it's empowering. It brings confidence. I can hear it in your voice. I mean, you are definitely a man of integrity. You come across as somebody who definitely knows their stuff. And you're a student of the game. You're a student of the game. What made you want to learn about the money game? Because I'm a whole believer that you can't be good at. First of all, I'm a whole believer that the word rich is relative because you might need more money than I need. I might need more money than you need. So, but in order for me to actually learn how to navigate this minefield of the finance, I got to learn the money game. When did it hit you that? Because you come across as somebody who definitely knows their stuff. You definitely know the strategy, the concepts.
Yeah.
When did you decide to dive in so deep and become a student of the craft?
I think it's just all about, if you're a business owner, you need to know money, right? There's just certain things you need to know when it comes to in business. Money needs to be one of them. How can I get the money? And that's number one, right? How can I make the money? That's number two. And most importantly, how can I keep the money?
Yes.
So you need to have a fundamental understanding on how money works. Now, you may struggle with 2 out of 3. You may struggle with all 3. You may struggle with 1, right? But you need to understand how money works. So I understood that if I want to be a astute business owner, a successful business owner, that's what I always strive to be, right? Your definitions of success can be different from mine, but that's what I always strive to be. So I knew I need to understand money, and what comes with money is credit. I need to understand credit because that's number one. How can I get the money? Credit is part of how can I get the money. So that's something I was like, hey, I have to understand this credit game, because no matter what business you're going into, you need to understand how credit works, because in order for you, it's going to be a point where you need other people's money. I don't care if it's at the beginning, the middle, the end, could be all 3, but you're going to need other people's money. So you need to understand how credit works. It can be, the banks can be money, can be your credit person. It could be an investor, right? It can be I can't even think of the name right now.
Or what about yourself?
Right. Yeah. So it can be a spouse. It can be from anywhere, right? So credit comes in many shapes and forms. So you need to understand how it works, the payback, the terms, right? You need to understand all this, the down payment, like everything matters. So that made me want to understand credit. I'm like, no matter what business I'm doing, at that time, and I'm still very interested into real estate. But at that time, I was solely all in on real estate. Like, hey, I need to, in order for, I know real credit is a big game of real estate. So let me study credit to see how that can help me in my real estate business. Same thing if you're in a notary business. You don't think you don't need business credit. Your life would be much easier if you had business credit. So if you think, oh man, I just want the income. Well, again, that's number two. Number one, right, is how can you get the money? So how can you get the money? It's all about, right, where can this extra money come from if I need it? Because eventually, like I said, you're going to need it. Your life would be much easier if you had maybe you had a brand new car, maybe you got a better printer, maybe if you had automations, right? Maybe if you generate more leads. All that takes money. All that takes capital. So yeah, no matter what business you're in, it's a necessity.
Absolutely. Well, family, you guys, you know that what you've just heard for the last hour and 15 minutes has been pure gasoline, pure fire. You guys already know. I hope you guys, I got 2 pages of notes here, 2.5 pages of notes here that I know that I gotta listen. I love having this. I love these conversations. I love talking about these topics because it never gets old and you just slowly adapt to it. So I appreciate you for staying up to date and keeping us updated on everything that's new. And you know, if one of the family members wanted to reach out to you and, you know, maybe they had some questions about their personal credit or their business credit, you know, what could they do in order to either contact you or what could they do to sort of start managing themselves, you know, putting themselves in a better position to manage their financial situation?
Sure. So the first thing I would do is you can go to sppmanagementinc.com. So I'll put that in the chat, right? sppmanagementinc.com. That'll take you straight to the website. You can book a free discovery call or you can book a one-on-one with me as well. Or what you can do as well is get my business credit ebook guide. Now, I did something special for everybody that's on here right now, right? So the business credit unlock, this is an ebook where it's literally a step-by-step guide from how to properly structure your business, right? Because properly structuring your business is the first thing you want to do. Very first thing. Again, I'm going to say this again. About 97, 98% credit applications get turned down because your business is not properly structured. First thing you want to do. Number two, you want to leverage your business owner credit, which is AKA your personal credit, right? That's the second thing. Then you want to build a relationship with these financial institutions. So only 3 things you want to do to get business funding. So what I did was I put business credit unlock in here, and I'm giving you business funding, fast track to business funding. So those 2 ebooks only for the price of 1, right? So I did that for you guys only for this special right here. Again, it's a guide. Like it's literally a guide, step-by-step guide with the websites, with the links, where everywhere you want to go in order to have a real legitimate business. Some of you guys, if you treat this like a side hustle, it still need to be established as a business because you still want to get credit for it, right? You still want to get the advantages and benefits of being a small business owner. So you definitely want to make sure that everything is properly structured. So I highly suggest, highly recommend. Hell, it's only $22. If you can invest in yourself, you definitely don't want to be, not saying with me, but I'm saying if you want everything for free, that's not the way to go. Free can only take you so much. So I typically sell these books for $22 each by itself. But on here, you're getting the price for 2 for 1. The business credit unlock is going to show you how to build business credit. The fast track to business funding is going to show you how to get business funding, aka is going to show you how to get the bank's money, right? The unsecured business credit card with 0% interest, where you could do projected income. So projected income is really powerful, or stated income, where, as I stated before, if you say you make $100,000, banks and credit is going to take your word for it. You don't have to show them any paycheck stubs, any bank statements, any tax returns. They're going to take your word for it. So, which is really powerful. How many of you right now can use $50,000 to $100,000 without showing any proof of income? It's crazy, right? That's what these ebooks is going to give you access to. So that's real powerful. And here's one more thing that'll give you access to. Did you know, which I didn't say, so everybody who's paying attention right now, this is really powerful. I'm about to give you a super powerful gem. Did you know, remember I told you business credit, the only way you can get business funding, the bank's money, is where you leverage your personal credit. But did you know there's only one bank in the whole US that will allow you to get an unsecured business MasterCard where you can spend anywhere that takes MasterCard. It's not limited only to that establishment, right? There's only one bank. That bank is Synchrony Bank. But guess who, I say that one bank is Synchrony Bank, but guess what establishment use Synchrony Bank, which is Sam's Club. So did you know you can, by leveraging your business by yourself, using your EIN number by yourself, you can go to Sam's Club card and get anywhere between an 8,000 all the way up to a 21,000 unsecured business MasterCard, EIN only. That's the only bank in the US, and that book tells you exactly how to do it, what business trade lines to add on there, how to properly structure your business so you can have that business credit profile, so you can have that business credit score, and go get that card where you can leverage in order to start and grow and scale your business without even using your personal credit or without showing any revenue in your business. So that's what I mean by different strategies, right?
Yeah. Guys, well, I will say that I personally have...
I purposely waited to the end to drop that just to see stay all the way on the end, because that's a crazy... Don't gloss over that. Don't gloss over that. I'm trying to tell y'all what I just told y'all. That's a crazy strategy. Remember, if you don't have the revenue, that's why I say you can start anywhere. If you don't have the revenue, some of you not even making any money right now, which is fine. Some of you personal credit is jacked up. Fix your personal credit. But if you have those two working against you, you can always build business credit and go get up to $21,000 just based off your business credit alone.
And that's such a powerful thing. And I personally, like I said, I've used your service, and you have done tremendous work. So I can personally speak on behalf of anybody who wants to, who is thinking about putting themselves in a better position financially, their business and on the personal side. So I've used the book. I've read the book. I am a student of the finance industry, and I love learning more about these different strategies because this stuff is evolving at a very high pace. And this is a debt-based economy that we live in anyway. So a lot of the information and the tools that is available to business owners like ourselves, it is largely based on debt and how you appear to some of these financial institutions. So I can't thank you enough for coming through and blessing us with this information, because it's just so powerful, so much needed. I know we have a little bit of time, but I know you said that you're a very busy man, very busy brother, and you got a lot of stuff to do. I don't know if there's anybody who wants to, if you are available to throw out any questions or answer any questions.
Yeah, that's fine. Anybody have any questions that we talked about today? Please ask the questions. I just realized I can connect to my Facebook. I couldn't connect to my account. Hey guys, you're not following my Facebook. my YouTube. You're doing yourself a disservice.
That is true. We got a lot of content
when I went down there. That's crazy. But yeah, any questions that you guys want to ask me as far as any about anything we talked about, feel free to ask.
Yeah, this brother has a powerful platform on YouTube. So if you're not following him on YouTube, please go do that now.
What we got? For a small business owner looking to establish or improve their business credit, which actionable steps or strategy would you recommend they take to build a solid credit foundation for their company? Well, I would say I would give you 3 steps before you do anything. Again, we talked about them. If you're trying to build a strong business credit profile, number 1, you want to choose the right business name. Number 2, you want to choose the right NAICS code, NAIC code. And then number 3, you want to make sure you get after you choose the right business name, you're in the right industry. Then you want to get a virtual office or a brick and mortar. If you're not a brick and mortar, if you don't have a that's within a budget, or it's not necessary for your type of business or industry, get a virtual office. After you have those 3 steps, then you can start your LLC. Then after you establish your LLC, you do like 6 other things that I described in the ebook. Then you can start building business credit, which means start adding business trade lines to your business credit profile. But remember, I stated before, adding the right business trade lines is critical because you don't want to add a whole bunch of business trade lines that only reports to your Dun and Brad, and you have other business credit bureaus out there like, hey, what about me? What about me? So you want to make sure that you have diversify your business credit trade lines so you can get more credit for your business. So that's what I would say. Properly structuring your business is the first step. And I teach that all in my ebooks, or you can go on my YouTube channel and watch a lot of my videos too as well. But if you always want to have the guide so you can go back and refer to, definitely get the ebook.
Can you break down the difference between a line of credit and a credit card?
Perfect. I love that. So let's start with a credit card first. So a credit card it's a credit line, not a line of credit, but it's a credit line where lenders and creditors that give you a credit card say, hey, it's unsecured. So which means you don't have to put up any collateral, right? You don't have to put up any collateral, which means you don't have to put up any assets. So it's not backed by anything. So for example, when you buy real estate, that's a secure loan. It's backed by the real estate property. So if you default on that loan, they can take your house. Mm-hmm. But a credit card is different. If you it's unsecured, so which means they're giving you $20,000 just based off your word, basically that you're going to pay them back. So and they're going to cap a limit on there. So let's say it's $20,000, so you can't go over that limit. Then they're going to give you a certain amount of time to pay that off. And it's going to come with interest rates. It's going to come with terms that you have to pay that card back depending on your credit profile, etc. So that's a credit card, right? You got a limit, you got interest rates. It's a revolving credit, so which means you only pay back what you use. So that's a great thing. They both are revolving credit, revolving trade lines. You only pay back what you use. So if you don't use that $20,000, you don't have to pay it back. Unlike a loan, they give you $20,000. You got to immediately start paying it back the next month. It can be $500, $600, whatever your monthly installments are. You got to immediately pay it back. That's why I love unsecured business credit cards, because you only pay back what you use. Now, with that being said, lines of credit are similar. You only pay back what you use, but guess what? You have access to everything is similar to a credit card, except you have access to direct cash. So which means in order for me to get $20,000 from this business credit card, I have to liquidate it, which means I have to turn that credit into cash, right? There's different type of strategies you can do that, but I have to turn that credit into cash. So I don't have direct, and some things you may have to pay in a form of cash as a part using a credit card. For example, real estate, your down payment, you can't swipe your card at the closing table, right? You need cash. So you have to have access to cash. So some equipment you can't buy with cash, right? Contracts you got to pay. So stuff like that, you need cash. Now with a line of credit, you can just transfer that right into your account. So that's the main difference between a line of credit. That's why lines of credit are better than credit cards, because of that one difference. But they both are revolving credit. You only pay for what you use, etc. You both have the same terms to pay them back. If it's a charge credit card, it might be you have to pay it back all in 30 days. But now they have something that's called carryover balance, so you can just pay it back in increments. So, but they relatively are the same, except for that one difference. One, you can do access to cash right away, and the other one, you have to do different strategies to get the cash off the card.
Ooh, put some fire emojis in the chat, y'all. He's heating it up right now. He is heating it up. How many people by truth knew the difference or heard the difference?
It's probably a lot out there, man. It's probably a lot out there. One thing I want to say too, when it comes to, let me put this down. When it comes to one of the other things that people overlook when trying to get, I would say, access to capital from banks or whatever. One of the things that they focus on too much is traditional banks, right? And we heard of these national banks like Bank of America, Chase Bank, or like a PNC Bank. I think PNC Bank might be regional because it's not in every state, but even like a PNC Bank or US Bank or something like that, is skipping over the community banks and the credit unions, which are huge. So one of the strategies that I always use in order for, let's say, someone business personal credit is not in position, which means they need to have more data points on there. I go to credit unions and community banks. Why? Because they give you the bag, right? They give you higher limits than national banks could. So if you go to a credit union like NASA, which pre-qualify you, tell you your amount, $15,000 to $20,000 they'll give you on a personal side, as opposed to going to Chase, who will probably give you $2,000 on a personal side. Now, why is this important? We like London, we're talking about business credit card, you're talking about personal. Well, it's important because one of the things that the banks like to do is something that's called comparable credit, which means if they see you can manage on a personal side $10,000, imagine what they think you can manage on a business side, because they understand, when I say they, lenders and creditors understand, in order for you to make money, you have to spend money. So they expect that your expenses is going to be way higher on the business side than your personal side. So if you can show you can manage $10,000 on the business side off a credit card, then on the business side, they're going to give you about $30,000. So that's a hack that you want to make sure that you do, right? Go to credit unions or go to community banks in your area and see what they have available for you. Because most 9 times out of 10, they are about the client and not about making a quota like big banks only care about.
Yeah. And that way, so you guys have fewer denied applications. You don't want to go in there and then all of a sudden you want to walk in there. So what London is telling you is bringing you is that when you walk into these places, you're equipped, right? You got you got an arsenal with you. You know, you're not walking in there umming and oohing and question marks all around your head, looking like a cartoon. But you go in there and you've got the equipment. You're equipped with the arsenal to go in there and say, listen, here's what I have, here's what I've done, and here's the documentation that supports it and backs it up. We talked a lot about credit and talked a lot about you and your personal side and the personal credit as well. One of the things I think there's a few more questions, and then we'll be able to finish up. But you talked about the whole concept of a business. Mm-hmm. Please correct me if I'm wrong here, but my feeling is that you have a business is ultimately a step-by-step process that takes a customer or a user, end user, and delivers what it is that they're looking for. For me, and for a lot of people who are listening to this, that might be the execution of a notarization, a signature and a stamp. How important is having a real business to your inevitable success, or your premature departure of the business world? Having a step-by-step process. You talked about answering the phones, talked about having the articles of information, you talked about the business address. But at the end of the day, if you don't make the money, how long are you going to be in business?
Yeah, so having a business is really, let me put this on, because now I'm about to really access to 50K. I'm about to answer your question really quickly. Let me just do it. I'm putting on my
Yeah, do what you got to do. Load it up, man.
I actually didn't know I can do that. I would have been did that.
Broadcast to the world.
Yeah, I would have been put it on my stream. Let me see if it comes up real quick. Oh, I gotta change the name. Okay, I think I'm on. Did we go off? Tech, we still here? Tiger, can you hear me? Tiger, can you hear me? Tiger, I can't hear you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he froze up on us.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could go ahead and
Okay.
finish up though, bro.
Okay, cool. So I think Tech asks, what's the importance of having or establishing a business? So one of the things that I always tell small business owner, new LLCs, one of the best things you can do is properly structure your business. Again, it all comes down to that, right? You want to properly structure your business. Hey, what's going on, Tracy? You want to properly structure your business. So what does that mean, right? I can name all these 8 things that you can do in order to properly structure your business. But one of the biggest things that you need to do is make sure that you have a business checking account. That's huge. Having a business checking account. Here's why. That no matter where you are on paper. So for example, I get this all the time. I ask people during my one-on-one consultation, how long you been in business? Oh man, I've been at this for 10 years. That's cool. How long you been in business on paper? I just established my articles of organization 2 years ago. Okay, cool. How long have you had a business checking account? Well, I just got that 6 months ago. Well, did you know, to most lenders, to most financial institutions out there, to most bankers, you only technically been in business for 6 months, right? You only been in business for 6 months because lenders and creditors need to track your payment data, your payment history. So having that established business checking account gives you that banking history that they need in order to say, hey, you know what? You've been in business for quite some time. You've been established with our financial institution for quite some time. Instead of giving you $2,000, we're going to give you $20,000. Did you hear what I just said? So that could be a big game changer for getting $2,000 all the way to getting $20,000, adding the extra zero because you have that business checking account with them for that amount of time, typically not, or I would say 90 days, because now you're building bank credit, which is another subject that we need to talk about, but bank credit. So having an established checking account, business checking account, is a huge part of properly structuring your business. I was answering your question, Tech, before you had froze up. As far as
keep flowing.
As a real business, so having that business checking account is huge. Now you might be asking, well, London, what bank should I go with? Right? What's the right business checking account should I go with? Hey, everybody that just joined in on my YouTube stream, been on here for quite some time, so we've been going at it. I decided to go live on my YouTube stream, and so welcome to the show. Hope you're definitely going to learn something. So one of the things that, hey, now what business checking account should I go with? Well, that depends on your situation. But I always tell people you should have multiple business checking accounts, right? You should have with a national bank like Chase. Well, London, why should I go with Chase? They don't care about the small people. You're right. But you know what Chase do care about? They do care about collecting your data and reporting that to the major business credit bureau. So now you're building up business credit by having that relationship with Chase. Why? Because Chase reports to Equifax business, Experian business, Dun & Brad, and it reports to the small business financial change. So having that relationship with Chase, you're building business credit just by having a business checking account with Chase or having a products or their services like their unsecured business credit card. So yes, you should have a national bank on your side. Now, also, you should have a credit union on your side. Why you should have a credit union on your side? Well, because credit unions give you high credit limits. So if you lacking high credit limits, going through a credit union, instead of giving you a $5,000 with a national bank, like a Chase Bank or something like that, if you don't have the data points, go through a credit union where you build that relationship with them. You have one of their products or their services. You've been with them for quite some time. They'll give you a $25,000 credit line out the jump if you have the right proper data points, because credit unions are privately owned and they all about the customer, right? They all about the customer.
So what do you say to somebody who says, man, I got a business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making some money.
Mm-hmm.
I got the address. I want to get access to the most money possible because I want to scale this. I want to hire some people. I want to take on that role as a leader of a company. And what do you say to that person? Man, my personal credit is good. You know, I may not have a perfect score, but I don't get denied. I'm a homeowner. You know, I'm married. You know, whatever. I got some kids.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of debt, and you know, I went to college. You know, what do you say to that person says, listen, I want access to the most possible in the best, most efficient way possible. You know, so I want to do it the right way. I want to have everything on paper. What do you say to that person?
Are they a brand new business?
By virtue of them having a business bank account?
No, just about how long have they business established? Like, are we talking to like a new LLC, meaning less than 2 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first question I will always ask is, and I think you kind of alluded to this or disclosed this, but what type of funding do you need? Because there's a time and place where you need unsecured business credit cards, but that's also a time and place where you need business credit. There's also a time and place where you need an equipment loan. There's also a time and place where you need a business line of credit or installment loan. So I would always ask, what do you need, right? What do you want in your business? Because if you're telling me you need trucks, then yeah, we can give you unsecured business credit card, but we're not going to use those unsecured business credit card to buy you a truck. We're going to give you an equipment loan so you can get trucks. All right. So it all depends on what you need. Now, after you tell me what you need, SBFE, right? Small business financial change. Correct. Now, after we establish what type of funding you need, then we're going to go over your data points as far as after we understand what type of business funding you need, now we got to go over your data points to see if you can get those type of business funding. How's your personal credit? How's your business credit profile? And usually these are the 3 Bs. And that's why I asked you about the business age, because this is really important. These are the 3 Bs that always need to take in consideration. Number 1 is your business credit, right? That's number 1, business credit. Any order, I'm not saying significance, but number 1, business credit. Number 2, business owner credit. And number 3, business age. So those are the 3 components that needs to be highlighted, because as a brand new business, less than 2 years, lenders are going to cap you off of a certain limit. So I can't give you a certain limit if I only can give you a certain limit for one financial institution if you've only been in business a certain amount of time. Now, on the flip side, I can go, it's always, see, this is why you get with somebody like myself or whoever that you know, like, and trust, because there's strategies to everything. If I know Chase will only cap you off at $40,000. Okay, well, I'm going to go to Bank of America, give you another 25. I'm going to go to Shrewsbury Bank, give you another 30, right? I'm going to go here, give you a PNC, give you another 10, BMO to give you another $25,000. So a cumulative, you're going to have $100,000 in funding on that strategy. So, because I know you've been in business in less than 2 years. Now I got to ask, okay, well, can we give you $100,000 with one bank? Well, now we got to check your data points, because now we're talking about, do you have tax returns, right? Can you show proof of income? How are you paying yourself? Do you have like Gusto? Do you have, which I prefer, which I partner with, ADP? ADP is the number 1 provider when it comes to paycheck stubs in the world. So you can go to me. I can get you with ADP, 6 months free, 30% discount. So lenders want to know, can you show proof of income? When you're trying to get a car, show proof of income. When you're trying to get an apartment, show proof of income. When you're trying to get a business loan, not an unsecured business credit card, different products, a business loan, you got to show proof of income, especially if we're trying to give you $100,000. Business plan, right? So we got to go over these data points. You don't need a business plan to get an unsecured business credit card, different type of products. See, that's one thing we got to understand. There's different type of products for different type of businesses.
So would you recommend that somebody who wanted to get access to as much as possible because they have a business, they're own documented, would you recommend that they actually have a documented way of paying themselves? They have shown that.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the moment you start a business, you need to sign up with a payroll provider. From the moment you start a business, because transferring from one bank, first of all, you need to get a business checking account and do this. But once you have a business checking account, transfer from your business to your personal, you're doing yourself a disservice. That's not how you pay yourself. But I'm not a tax or accountant or anything like that, so I can't give you that. But from that perspective, you definitely doing it wrong. But again, I'm giving you general advice, right? Ask your accountant or whatever. No, you got to disclose that.
Yeah.
But from that perspective, you need to have a payroll provider. Why? Because as a self-employer, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, we get paid differently than a 9-to-5. So if we go in there, let me give you an example. If we go in there and say, oh, I'm Big Willie, I'm CEO of my company, I'm Big Willie, right? I'm the big dog. Okay, big dog, show me you a big dog. Let me see them tax returns. Let me see your bank statements. Let me see your P&L statement. Let me see your cash flow statements. Right? Let me see your balance sheets, big dog. You said you a big dog. You need to have all that paperwork. But if I go to a bank, this is really important. If I go to a bank and say, you know what? I am an employee of my company. I get paid just like the regular old Joe. I am an employee. Here's my last 2 paycheck stubs. That's all they need. That's all they need. I don't have to show them the other documentations. Because remember, you are an employee of your company. You can be the manager, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you are an employee of your company. So don't go in like you the big dog. Otherwise, you're going to get treated like a big dog.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
That makes sense.
So yeah, so having proof of that income, having a paycheck stub is huge for an apartment, for a business loan, for a car. You want to have proof of income. You need to show a proof of income. And I didn't even get to the accounting reason. I'm staying away from that because that's ask your accountant. I'm staying away from that, but definitely for that reason also too as well.
Well, listen, brother, you've given us way more than we asked for. You have definitely delivered so much more than we didn't even ask for this much. You've done a great job of giving us a lot more.
Man, I can go. When I can go, I can go.
And that's what I love about it. And I love the overall message that as entrepreneurs, we have to be fiscally sound people. And we have to be good stewards of our money. And we have to be aware of what's happening, when is it happening, and how much of it. And it's important that it's what I'm getting is that you got to have good records. You got to keep good records. You got to have everything documented. You should, if the need arises that you need to access funding versus accessing credit versus accessing lines of credit, that it's extremely important. It's not difficult, or maybe I should say it's not simple, but it's extremely important for the person who wants to have a sustainable, and business that that they whatever they intend to do, whether they pass it on, whether they intend to sell it. So I know I got a lot of studying to do, and I just appreciate everything that you've done for us so far for this community. Any last words that you want to give to the community? Anything that you want to let us know? What should we be doing?
Yes. So listen, guys, as a business owner, one of the hardest things to do, I would say, is to really prove not only to yourself, but most importantly, I'm sorry, not only to other people, but most importantly, prove to yourself that you can be successful in business, right? That's one of the most important things that you want to accomplish. Like, hey, man, because you got people out there who, family, friends, who don't believe in you until you really start to make the money. Then they want to jump on ship. So this is why I cater to new business owners, new LLCs, because I know you have everything going against you. People not believing you, people not trusting you, people don't see what you see, your dream. You take all that into consideration, and then on top of that, you have no money. So, and all that could just be, man, forget this. I'm about to go back to my job, right? I can't do this. So it can be really overwhelming. So what I would say is always work on yourself, brother. You got to read books, surround yourself with more entrepreneurs to get that inspiration. Do the things that you're uncomfortable doing. Get people all the time. I'm not a salesman, so I don't want to sell. This is considered selling right here, right? In a sense, get that all the time. I'm not a content creator. I'm not comfortable being on a camera. Well, have you ever been in front of a camera? How do you know? Look, I've been on YouTube for 5 to 6 months now. One of my videos got over almost 700,000 views. I got over 25,000 subscribers. And I'm telling you to say this. My first, I don't know, 30 videos. I just now start hiring an editor to do my videos. All I did was turn on the damn camera. That's all I did was turn on the camera and just went, right? So sometimes you got to get out your own comfort zone and just go, but it's going to take preparation. And this is why I want to leave you, right? All those things everything I just said is about mindset at the end of the day. You have to have the mindset, but also you have to be prepared. And what I mean by being prepared, well, in order for you to be successful in business, you have to prepare yourself, not only mentally, but you have to get with, either you can get with somebody that you know, like, and trust. And this doesn't have to be in a physical sense. Excuse me. You might follow somebody on IG, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and you might build that bond through that way, right? You might buy their courses, you might get on their webinars. You need to learn from somebody if you don't have the information, right? So gravitate towards someone. I don't mean 80 million people. I mean, really gravitate towards maybe 1, 2, whatever. Maybe start off with only one, but gravitate towards that person and learn the game, whatever industry that you're in, and soak all the information up, all the knowledge, and then get to work. And what I mean get to work, learning your craft, but more importantly, get you some business credit. More importantly, get you some business credit. When you start that business, do it right. Do it right. Like, properly structuring your business. Make sure all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, right? I got a whole YouTube portfolio on how to properly structure your business, right? Or get with me, or get with somebody again that you know, like, and trust. But man, just get it done. Get to the money. That's my whole thing, my whole point. After you get to the mental thing, get to the money.
Well, appreciate it, brother. Thank you for giving us almost 2 hours of your time.
Woo!
This brother has went in. Man, I'm over here. I got notes. We got confidence. We got self-development. We got reinvestment, return of investment on yourself. We got, man, this brother has given us almost 2 hours of his time. And
one more thing, because
by all means, go ahead.
Look,
go ahead.
Return on your investment. As a business owner, it's all about return on your investment. But let me say this, like, the reason why I can speak so confident now, and it's about investing in yourself, right? Because Ted just brought up a great point. Invest in yourself, right? I spent over $35,000 on these bad boys, right? On my teeth.
Yeah.
So that gives me the confidence to go on YouTube, to go on these other social media platforms, to go to networking events, right? Real estate networking events, do Zoom calls, right? That give me the confidence that I needed. So that's more precious than anything. Way more precious than the $35,000 that I spent. The bank's money, by the way, care credit. That's the medical credit card, care credit, right? So that's my whole point. I reinvested back into myself, right? I properly structured my business, properly structured my personal credit, used that care credit to reinvest back into myself, to invest back into you guys, and confidently. So that's
Great.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Great. That, man,
Appreciate that,
listen,
Trey.
that's all we got for y'all. That's all we can give y'all today.
That's all we got, man.
He giving you almost 2 hours of just pure game, pure knowledge. The only thing left is for you to go ahead and put this up into action. Go ahead and take the necessary steps to get involved with the community. Contact London. You got the links, and take the next step, guys. If you've ever had, and also all these messages about just being good stewards of your money and being fiscally sound, because that's the responsible thing to do as business owners. And I've got some work to do. I've got some things that I got on my action plan. So I appreciate everything you've done, London. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, man. I really do appreciate it.
No problem, man.
All right.
Back anytime.
Thanks for watching. I hope you got a lot from it. Don't forget to click the link below for my special discounted price.